Hello, 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 everybody. Yes, we are live. Oh my God. Thank you, DJ Airson, once again, and also that closing track. Oh my God. I love that. When we first did Disney Mashed as a party at DNA Lounge in San Francisco. Yeah, I needed that iconic Disney. You know, every Disney movie opens with that, with that little overture, and I found some ridiculous, like, yeah, it was that one with gunshots and fart noises and everything else. So I'm so glad that DJ Harrison ended happy hour with that. Are you all having a wonderful time for Disney? Yeah, the air horn remix, DJ Airson. Oh my God, just it's so stupid. It was so stupid. I was like, I'm not gonna keep this, and then I was like, well, let me just open the night with it because it'll be hilarious. And then we ended up like just keep dropping it randomly into sets because that's what we do when we when something is ridiculous. So yeah, anyway, this is kind of a special night for us. So yes, we are celebrating all things Disney today on our channel, but it being the Booty Mashup channel, of course it's all mashed up, remixed, recontextualized, taking all of your Disney favorites or maybe even not so favorites. And this includes, by the way, this includes Star Wars, this includes Marvel, this includes Muppets. I mean, Disney is like, they've bought it all. They've literally bought my childhood. Like everything that I ever loved, they're just like snapping up. I mean, even like retro video games, Wreck-It Ralph, total Disney movie. It was like crazy. Oh, Ray of Light, thank you. I'm glad you like yeah, oh, damn. Yeah, I did good. Yeah, pretty damn good for 5 minute makeup. Yeah, this is what 5 minute makeup is sometimes. I'm just like, yep, you want the makeup tutorial? Oh my God. No concealer, no foundation. It's literally just Studio Fix MAC. It's just a powder. I just went, and then it's like, drew in the eyebrows, drew in the liquid, drew on the lips. Shit, I forgot contouring. No blush. Let's see. I definitely got the color saturation going on the camera, which I did not have time to tweak. And I did do fake eyelashes today though, but I didn't even glue them. Like they were still sort of sticky, and I'm like, they only need to stay on for 1 hour while I'm sitting here talking. So I'm just gonna stick them on, and hopefully, like if you see an eyelash fall off, that's why. There's no glue. It's just like whatever leftover glue from the last time I put. It was like worst makeup tutorial ever. I know, right? It's like, just stay on for 1 hour because, God knows that'll be like, most views of a clip on our channel will be like Adriana's eyelash falling off. Anyway, so sometimes Mashup Talk is a little bit more of a talk show, a little bit more of a podcast, and I have to put it in the little category for Twitch. It's like, talk shows and podcasts. And then sometimes it's just like the way it's going to be today, which is just chatting. We're just chatting. It's our weekly meeting. How is everybody? I hope you like Disney, and I'm assuming that if you don't like Disney, today is probably not the day that you are tuned in. But we got things kicked off pretty early today. It's kind of funny. DJ King of Pants, who is our resident DJ for Booty Mashup in Seattle, although our Seattle venue closed for good not too long ago, actually a few months ago, another victim of the corona apocalypse. So, yeah, I'm not even sure I can say Booty Mashup Seattle anymore because that party no longer exists. But when it did exist, Freddie, King of Pants, was our resident DJ. I always love having him on the channel. And he missed out on Halloween, which is his all-time favorite holiday. But then when he saw we were doing Disney night, he's like, is it too late? And I'm like, well, I mean, the thing is DJ Airson already has her happy hour. That's pretty locked in place. DJ Time and Jupiter Gatling are both like Disney obsessives, and they were like, oh, we want that night. We want that night. We are planning it. We are, like both of them already kind of go hard sometimes. Like when we're over the contractually obligated live stream schedule and Jupiter Gatling goes into overtime, she digs deep into the Disney. And I know DJ Time several times has done like secret sets, like not announced, like it seems like we do like Disney related things on this channel quite a bit. But in the 8 months we've done this channel, we have never officially had a Disney night. So welcome to it. So, but anyway, King of Pants, who is like seriously Disney obsessive. I mean, he has his own show and his own channel. Please give him a follow. King of Pants here on Twitch. He does a show, I believe, usually on Mondays, Sundays, Tuesdays. I can't keep track, but it's called Disney Oddities. And yeah, he is the king of DJing Disney. It's true. No, Airson, he was not a hard act to follow. Actually, it was, even for me, who does love Disney stuff, it was Disney overload. It was kind of nice to have like a little come down of like more like Disney light. So I was totally okay with that, for real. Oh my goodness. But I have to tell you, Chat Pod, I was not always this way. I was a Disney hater. Hated Disney. Hated it. Oh my God. Let me count the ways and the reasoning. I am very much a late in life Disney aficionado. What is with my mouth today? It's because I'm not drunk. I'm not drinking. I've got water. Maybe that's, I just need some water. Flap nasty, I don't blame you. Yeah, I mean, Disney has gotten better in the last few years. But throughout Disney's history, there's a lot to answer for. And I think when I was, obviously when I was a little kid, I had Disney rammed down my throat because, it's, kids movies, animation, things like that. So, the Disney princess thing. Yes, Braywin, we are going to get into that. As a kid, obviously, I saw a lot of Disney stuff. Mickey Mouse Club and all the I want to say cartoons, but I know I'll get called out. They are not cartoons. They are animated films. Which they are. It's true. But then, you become a teenager and you sort of reject all the kids stuff. And I never recovered from that for a long time. And a lot of it had to do with just like I was like, okay, you guys like kind of venerate Walt Disney, but he sort of like, you would hear things about him being sort of like homophobic or anti-Semitic, maybe, questionable choices with what we now know as cultural appropriation, certainly widely known to like take other cultures' stories and Disneyfy them. I mean, it's like every classic Disney film, there's nothing original. They are all like these classic stories, Sleeping Beauty and, Snow White. I mean, these are all like, European fairy tales, basically. So, again, a lot to answer for. I'm not even going to get it into things like Song of the South, that's certainly covered. But then even when even going into the 90s, where you've got the whole Disney renaissance of The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast, and these Aladdin, these classic films, still a lot to answer for. I'm repping Little Mermaid right now with my punk rock Ariel tank top, which actually Jupiter bought in Camden Stables Market in London, with all the good bootleg shirts, and then I kind of like borrowed it indefinitely, I guess, because this is a little bit more me. Ariel is a polarizing character. I love the songs of The Little Mermaid, but I have issues with the entire plot, which is just like it ruffles my feminist feathers so badly, where I'm just like, oh my God, this movie is teaching little girls to just, like, first of all, give up your dreams, give up your talent, you have this beautiful singing voice, and, just give up everything just to get with a dude. Just to get with some guy that you just met. And now, granted, Disney is plenty of aware of this now. Like, woke Disney is a thing. If you want a deep dive, I highly recommend. Lindsay Ellis is a YouTube essayist, basically. Film a lot of genre stuff, a lot of Disney, Transformers, a lot of genre stuff, and she deep dives into it, and she has a whole video about woke Disney and whether issues of that. So what do we got? So so you've got Ariel. She didn't learn shit, right? So she has to, just give up everything just to basically get with the dude you just met. And then of course, like, the character that I love, I do love this character, Ursula the Sea Witch. And I love her because she's such this, she's like the strong female character. She's the villain. She's evil. She is super queer coded, which on the one hand, I used to kind of be like, okay, what the fuck, Disney? Okay, so besides the whole, just reinforcing old, tired Judeo-Christian family values and sexist ideology, heterosexist ideology, you've also got all these villains are super queer coded. Like, every villain is like a little fae, a little flip. Look at Scar from Lion King, the gay uncle, literally the gay uncle, right? Ursula is, she's kind of like this. She's a bossy, sassy drag queen because her character design is literally modeled off a sassy gay drag queen. If you don't know this, the character of Ursula is based on the drag queen Divine, who actually starred in a lot of John Waters films. Let me see what other. I know I'm forgetting other queer-coded villains in Disney films. Jafar, Aladdin. Yeah, it's like all this Disney Renaissance from the 90s, these iconic films that really really brought Disney back from like this whole sort of like, after Walt died in 1970, I believe, 71, 72, 69, something like that. Anyway, Disney sort of like, the 70s and 80s were not necessarily kind for the Disney brand, but their animation department like really fell on kind of hard times. And then yes, they got it back, their animation department, but the storytelling was still very rooted in so many values that I do not share. Let's put it that way. And like I said, ruffled my feminist feathers, ruffled my queer feathers. But I don't know. I've gotten older, and I think I'm less pretentious than I used to be. I'm more forgiving. I look at a wider frame and a wider picture now, and then it's also like, okay, so first of all, Disney's gotten cooler. They've just gotten cooler, and they are like, as far as like queer stuff, they are one of the most queer friendly companies ever. They're one of the first companies to offer benefits for domestic partnership. So many of the writers of, these iconic songs, Little Mermaid and Aladdin, Lion King, these are all, like these are essentially Broadway musicals, and the writers are gay. Yes, Howard Ashman is just like musical theater genius, and so yeah, there's so much queer talent behind these movies that are very much reinforcing, a very mainstream perspective, but there's a queer hand behind all of this stuff, and so I've chilled out a little bit. And now I look at like, at the time back in the 90s, I'm kind of like, God damn it. Oh yeah. The typical, Silence of the Lambs, Law and Order, the typical Hollywood trope where the villain is queer, the villain's gay, and the villain has to like die at the end, and it's not explicitly stated, it's all subtextual, but basically like, if you're gay, you're bad, and you're gonna die by the end of this movie. So in the 90s I was like, God damn, it's like, but at the same time, these are the best characters. These are the ones that are like the most fun. Ursula gets the best song. Is the sassiest. She is the fucking badass bitch that Little Mermaid needs. Like, Little Mermaid's just like, she's cute and she's, she sings well, and they're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna give up everything to get with some man. And and Ursula's like, Ursula is the sassy queer woman. Let's just call her queer. We don't know what her sexual orientation is. We don't really know, obviously female presenting, but based on a drag queen. So who really knows? But, she's just trying to, teach her a hard lesson that she don't need no man. Like, you don't need to give up. I was like, really? You're going to give up your voice? Right. So Ursula, very, very misunderstood. Also fighting against King Neptune. King Neptune's probably some total douchebag. Like, she's literally fighting the patriarchy. Okay? Right? She wants to be the queen of the ocean. So, right? Justice for Ursula. And then we look at Scar from Lion King, and yeah, he's like, pretty fucking evil, killed his brother and all. But, he's got this like, he's got these like witty comebacks versus Paul Lynde kind of like, like this coded gay, like 50s gay. Like if you've ever seen Paul Lynde on like Hollywood Squares, go dig up some old YouTube videos. Oh God, Flap Nasty's like, no, she was a manipulator. I mean, yeah. It's like, how do you want to read this? It's like art. Art is always, always, always open to interpretation, which is why we're having this discussion. I mean, so as much as circling back to Little Mermaid before I get into, Lion King, as much as like the character of Ariel just like bugged the shit out of me, and especially like in the transgender world, like Ariel is a favorite of transgender people, especially trans femme, because obviously Ariel is like, to use an outdated term and slightly problematic term, literally fishy, but emblematic of feminine beauty, and and yet she is born with a part that she doesn't like and wants to change. She doesn't want a fin, she wants legs, and that is metaphorically something that all transgender people can relate to. And because Ariel is female, obviously trans girls flock to it. Little trans kids love Ariel, especially, and even when they grow up, it's like Ariel is very much in my community. It's like, Ariel. Everyone wants to be Ariel, and I was like, oh God, right? I mean, just the whole like the princess thing. It's like, don't do anything for yourself, and just and a man will solve all your problems. That's But then someone else pointed it out to me, and she's a feminist, and I thought it was kind of amazing. She's like, no, you have it all wrong. And this is what I mean about varying levels of interpretation. Ariel rebelled against the patriarchy, just like Ursula. No, Daddy, I'm not going to do what you tell me to do because I'm supposed to. I'm going to have my own agency and have my own life, and I'm going to, so you've got like this like rebellion. Don't tell me what I have to be. It's like, you tell me I'm born this way, but I don't feel this way. I want something else. And right, okay. Wicked Dread's like, yes. So exactly. So there's that, and she goes out and she knows what she wants, and she figures out a way to go out and get it. Now, granted, the way she goes out and gets it is a little fucked up, but oh well, make a deal with the devil and sacrifice everything so you can get with some guy. So, but at the same time, she did rebel against the patriarchy in a way. So there you go. So many ways to look at it. Yeah, and and then you've got, if you go into Lion King, of course, it's like the heteronormative, Mustafa, king, and then you've got like the weaker, weak. It's like, okay, because it's like, again, coded gay, that you're somehow like, weaker, and it's like and lesser than, so it's sort of like, maybe Mustafa had it coming a little bit, always trying to put Scar down in his place, because not fitting a heteronormative ideal. So see, no, and then Aladdin, Aladdin is like, oh God, there's, what he basically grooms and like kind of kidnaps Jasmine, right? I'm just like, oh, all over the map. But now the thing is I look back on these films now, and I can very much be critical of them, and I can call them out for this, this, and this. But then at the end of the day, I'm kind of like, oh my god, but these songs, or just look at the artistry, look at the queerness, behind it, yeah, oh my god, Mr. Beard Papa, yeah, you are absolutely right. Pocahontas, pure racist bullshit, completely. The Dumbo's crows, it's like, oh yeah, I mean, there's definitely, there's a lot going on. There are several layers, and the thing is these are, I mean, a lot of them are based on fairy tales. These are now, modern fairy tales for the past, several generations. Sorry, Smash Color. I know I am going deep tonight. So, it's interesting. So I was not always a fan of Disney, and I'll tell you what my turning point of starting to kind of like not be such a pretentious, little shit, because that's pretty much what I was, and like just a hater, and trying to sort of like, try to see what other people see, and was the crack that opened wider, where now I'm like, I fucking love Disney shit, was Frozen. I fell in love with the song Let It Go. And of course, Let It Go I heard way before I saw the movie. I mean, you could not escape that damn song. So yeah. Oh, thanks, Illuminati, or you missed my excuses for my super shitty quick makeup job, so I'm glad you still think I'm gorgeous. Thank you. Smash Color, you should see it. You should see it, and this is why. Okay, so Frozen, I was like, I didn't give a shit. It's like, oh yeah, some Disney princess movie, whatever. Didn't know anything about it. But the song Let It Go kept coming up. I deal with pop culture here with mashups. So, Aristocrats. The Aristocats. I tried to watch the Aristocats on a flight once. Woo! I mean, I remember liking it when I was a kid, but yeah, Wicked Dread. Those are all interesting things. What do you say here? Single old lady living with her cats, didn't need a man to be happy, single mom. Yeah, these are good things, but holy shit, that movie is slow. So slow. God, things like, I was like, oh my God, not much happens in this movie. I mean, I kind of felt that way with a lot of the older classic stuff, like Alice in Wonderland. It's like, wow, that movie is like just really stretched out, that very thin plot. And I kind of have a feeling that was sort of like the deal with a lot of that. I mean, that's just, again, more of a pop culture and generational thing. We live in a much more accelerated culture now. We absorb information so much faster. So the pacing of those older Disney films feels much slower to a modern audience. But anyway, back to Frozen. So the song Let It Go, I could tell immediately that there was a lot of subtext going on. I immediately read that. After hearing it enough times. Okay, not immediately, but after hearing it enough times and kind of absorbing the words, I'm like, this is like a queer coming out song. This is totally like going back to the queer coding in Disney films. It's like, this is totally a coming out song. Oh my God, has anyone figured this out? Internet. Oh yeah. Everybody's figured this out. It's like I am not the first person to ever think that. That's very much a thing. And I was like, oh, this is why queer kids and gay kids like love Let It Go, because it's the whole coming out of the closet song. It's won't hold me back anymore. Let it go. Turn away and slam the door in the closet that they just left. I won't hide. let the storm rage on. The storm of all the shit storm never bothered, or the cold. I'm sorry, the cold never bothered me anyway. I mean, just so many levels and layers. So then I was like, okay, I love this song. I haven't even seen the movie and I'm crying. So I finally watched the movie and I was like, oh my God, this is, first of all, the rest of the songs are fucking great. And, not written, weirdly, by anyone gay, written by a totally straight couple. But they just fucking nailed it on those songs. But also, like, let's count the things. There is not necessarily, it's a princess movie, except that there's no man. There is no man in this movie. So immediately, like, the feminist in me is like, oh my God, it's a Disney princess movie where it's not all about, like, getting with the man at the end, where, oh, someday my prince will come. Oh, kiss me in true love and everything's, perfect. No, it's like, oh my God. Oh yeah, Mr. Beard Papa, you're right. They originally wrote Frozen as sisters, the sisters being enemies with Elsa as the main villain. Well, that's again because of, Disney. Oh, it's like, oh, we'll take that fairy tale. We'll take that one and then they Disneyfy it. But the original fairy tale, it's a Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale. It's the Ice Queen. Yeah, the Ice Queen is evil. And it's interesting how they like, I mean, they reworked the Ice Queen so much that it's barely, it barely has any relation to the original story, which is not a bad thing. That's great because they literally, they made it a story about sisterhood. There is no man to save the day. There's no queer coded villain. Like the villain of the story is the guy who tricks the sister. But he doesn't really come off as gay. There's no queer coding. He's just like, douchebag. He's the slimy, manipulative douchebag. So it's so I was like, oh my God, Disney, like, freaking nailed it. And then that kind of like, that opened the floodgates. Then I watched Tangled, and Tangled, again, very, very strong female protagonist, who does end up with the dude, but it's not really about the dude saving her. It's, it's like she rejects him, like, constantly. Tangled is amazing. And also, at least in Tangled, I mean, unlike Frozen, I wish that Frozen and Frozen 2 kind of had better villains. Now it's like, as much as I was like railing against the fact that, oh, there aren't queer-coded villains anymore, but the villains aren't really all that great. It's like the villains often make the story, because they're such great characters, and the villains in Frozen aren't really meh. The mother in Tangled is Mother Gothel, is that her name? Yeah. I mean, she gets the best song, and she's I think she's a great villain. And she's kind of got like this Cher quality to her. So, but yeah. Yeah, exactly. Flap nasty. Flynn does not wear the pants. Rapunzel does. Exactly. I mean, like running around with a frying pan. That's all you need, right? Yes, Tangled is Rapunzel. Verona Blue. That is literally it. They just called it Tangled because I don't know if you call it Rapunzel. Oh, actually, no, I do know this. Because market research and focus groups they realized, at least in America, that if you call it like the Ice Princess or the Ice Queen, or if you call it Rapunzel, boys aren't going to want to see it. But if you call it something more vague, like with an action verb, like Tangled or, Frozen, then it's less off-putting to boys. So there you go. but here in Germany, Frozen is called the Ice Queen. And that's the other thing. Let's get back to Frozen. Circle back. I forgot about this. It's not a Disney princess movie. She's a fucking queen. She's a queen. So, Tangled is an amazing way to warn kids of the danger of toxic relationships and gaslighting. Yeah, Sire Eric, absolutely. So suddenly there are these like animated Disney films that I am like super weirdly on board with like the messaging and the storytelling, and the songs are really good. And we're just like, so then I went back and revisited all of the, Disney Renaissance films from the 90s. And yeah, they're still problematic. They are problematic as fuck. But I think I appreciate them more now, certainly than I did back then when I was just a hater. It's like I can recognize how their merits while still criticizing some of the outdated tropes and the casual racism, the very casual sexism, things like that. And Wicked Dread, Big Hero 6, not Big Hero 10. Yes, that is definitely Disney. Based on a Marvel, kind of and somewhat obscure Marvel comic, which is another thing. Okay, so here's another reason why I've stopped hating Disney, is because they literally bought everything that I like. It's like, oh, Marvel, Star Wars, Muppets, like all these other properties, intellectual properties that I really enjoy. They're like, it's now all part of Disney. So, which, is, I kind of feel like Disney has a little bit of a pop culture monopoly going on right now. I mean, they don't. There's certainly lots of other media companies making things, but Disney is really kind of killing it right now. And I gotta say, their creative team is amazing. A lot of that was also, it's like, oh, our animated films suck. Please teach us the ways of the Force, Pixar. And when they bought Pixar, they brought in, Pixar's creative team John Lasseter, who was the creative head of Pixar, then basically left Pixar in good hands and then became the head of Disney Animation. And, was the one that kind of shepherded, things like Frozen and Tangled. So yeah, absolutely. So, he's, apparently he hugs women in the office a little too creepily, but creatively, yeah, John Lasseter is pretty fucking brilliant. So Smash Color, they need to chill with buying everything, I know, right? Oh, but I don't know. If Disney came calling to booty Mashup, I might just have to fucking sell out, and be like, yes, fine. Take me, I'm yours. Wicked Dread. I mean, it's John Lasseter. I don't. It's hard to tell. I mean, it's during the whole Me Too movement. There's, keep in mind, there's a big spectrum between Harvey Weinstein and, probably John Lasseter. But he did sort of get swept up in that whole thing. So yeah, he gracefully stepped down, and there hasn't really been any. There hasn't been a lawsuit. There hasn't been a court case. There hasn't, no. It was just literally like him coming off a little creepy, but not like, oh, he raped somebody or, anything like that, But yes, exactly, Jupiter Gatling. But basically, the woman waiting in the wings, who, the director of Frozen, is now head of Disney Animation. Yeah, Jennifer Lee. So, and head of Star Wars, also a woman, Kathleen Kennedy. It's like George Lucas, finally. Yeah, look, honestly, I'm just going to say it. I'm not sure how popular or unpopular this opinion is, but George Lucas selling Disney is like the best fucking thing to happen to Star Wars. Because I know this is all George's original vision of things, but those prequels were underwhelming, and he was not taking the Star Wars universe to the kind of places that Disney is, between Rebels and Clone Wars, and say what you will about the final trilogy. I fucking loved it. I think The Last Jedi is it's always the middle movie. Empire Strikes Back was, well, it wasn't the middle movie with the prequels, but Empire Strikes Back was far and away the best of the original trilogy, and I love The Last Jedi. I know it was a very polarizing film amongst fans, but I fucking loved it. It really, it took Star Wars, shook it up, and slapped it. I mean, yeah, Rise of Skywalker, I didn't hate Rise of Skywalker nearly as much as other people seem to. I just hate that it definitely backpedaled on a lot of things. I really, really like all three of the new Star Wars films, and I really love that it was a female protagonist. I love that there's a person of color in there. I love that it just expanded things. I love the last scene of The Last Jedi, when, it's just some random town on some random planet, and there's some kid, and they're telling the stories of, the Jedi and all this shit. And the kid has the Force, and he picks up a thing, and with the Force, and it basically was like, oh, it democratized the Force. The Force isn't some special thing that only these special legacy families have. It's not all, you don't have to just be a fucking Skywalker, family name, royalty. I mean, basically it was like, this is like galactic royalty bullshit. It's like anyone could have this power. And I loved the message that sent. And then sure enough, and Rey, Kylo Ren is, it's like, you're nobody. I found out who your parents were. You're nobody. I fucking loved that. And then he backpedaled on it all. He fucking backpedaled. It's like, oh, wait, no, take it back. No, actually, your parents were Palpatines. And yeah, so it does all come down to your royal blood and all that bullshit. And, J.J. Abrams. See, the problem with the, say what you will about the prequels, at least George Lucas kind of had a plan. I mean, the plan I don't feel was very well executed. The prequels are good political drama if you're into political drama, but people don't watch Star Wars films for politics. I mean, it was good that it was there. I mean, especially during, the Reagan Bush years, that you can make all sorts of little connections, especially with the the Iraqi war. Oh my God, yeah, trade embargo, right? Exactly, thrilling, thrilling. But George Lucas at least kind of had a vision that he saw throughout those three movies. Whereas the sequel trilogy, the J.J. Abrams and why am I Reese? I want to somebody help me, just remind me of director of Last Jedi. I didn't do my research beforehand. Yeah, Rian Johnson, that's who it is. Thank you. Anyway, those movies, it was kind of more of an exquisite corpse. If you don't know what exquisite corpse is it started in the early 20th century amongst surrealist and Dadaist artists as a way of writing where you tell a story. Oh shit. I'm red. Why am I red? Oh, God damn it. No, come back. Come back. There we are. We're back. Okay. Little dust storm right there. But I'm back. So the, no, and now it's gone. Internet. Are we back? It hiccuped. Okay, good. We're back. All right. So the newer Star Wars films were written like an exquisite corpse. They didn't have a master plan of like, we're going to start here and end here. Like, they just sort of like made up the story as they went along, which is why when J.J. Abrams is doing the last film, he was like, oh yeah, we got a lot of backlash for all these things that Rian Johnson did. Let's circle back and we'll fix all that shit. And I didn't really like that. I kind of wish it would have been like this overarching theme. Maybe someone should have like, by someone I mean the story team at Disney. Instead of doing it the way they did, I wish they kind of would have had a team kind of map it out a little better. But anyway. Dread Pirate Din, lots of people hated Last Jedi. I mean, it's like I said, it was a polarizing film. I liked it because it really fucked with the formula. But, hello, what do I do on this channel? It's a mashup party. We literally take pop culture and we fuck with it. We subvert expectations. So of course I loved it. Of course I love it's like, oh, we're gonna take these Star Wars tropes that and we're gonna fuck with it a little bit. And I really kind of felt like the entire Star Wars universe needed that jolt, that, like I said, that like smack to the head. So, but yeah, Simon, you are right. That is the reason. It was like, ditch the black guy story at the end. I know. I feel bad for Finn, because it was like I thought that was going to go somewhere, and then it kind of didn't, It's like, oh God. Anyway. So yeah. Star Wars is Disney. Marvel can be all sorts of comic book mumbo jumbo, but again, it's like modern myth making, and this is what Disney has always done. Disney is a story driven and quite frankly marketing driven company. They know what they're doing. But, so while on the one hand, I'm really cynical about a lot of things, it's like, oh God, this is just a shameless marketing opportunity. Oh, let's put this cute thing in the movie so we can sell lots of toys. But at the same time, I'm also as a business person, I have to almost kind of be like, damn. I mean, you know what you're doing. So yeah. Anyway, but and I will say this: I feel the same way. The way I've turned a corner with Disney in general, where I appreciate Disney more than I like love it. Disneyland, Disney World, the Disney parks, which, I grew up in Ohio with like, we had theme park. Well, no. Wait, I'm sorry. We didn't have theme parks. We had amusement parks. We had Cedar Point, which has like, the biggest, highest, tallest, longest roller coasters in the world. Like, they're constantly, like, if some other park builds a taller, faster roller coaster, sure enough, the next summer they're like, oh yeah, and they build another one. But not really a theme park. There's no theme other than like, hey, ride lots of rides, especially roller coasters. But as a kid, growing up on Disney, I always wanted to go to Disney World or Disneyland. And, my family was just too poor, like couldn't afford to like, schlep the family to Disneyland, or Disney World. In that case, we're closer to Florida. So I didn't go to Disneyland until after I'd moved to California. And by then I'm like 22, I think. 22 is the age when I first went to Disneyland, and I hated it. Oh my God, I hated it. First of all, I was like, growing up in Ohio where it's like roller coasters, thrill rides. There are like no thrill rides at Disneyland. So I was immediately already disappointed. Like the closest they have is like Space Mountain and Star Tours. But still, that's nothing like a crazy, insane, like, 300-foot roller coaster that does 7 loops, okay? It's an overglorified dark ride. Star Tours is admittedly pretty cool, but yeah, I just like, and then, you guys, you're Command the Dance. You should have done mushrooms. No. Command the Dance Commander, let me tell you a story. This channel's set for mature audiences. My friends, who were all Californians, born and raised Californians, who, we all went to Disneyland together, and I'm super excited to go to Disneyland. They're like, let's do acid. Acid is amazing at Disneyland. And I'm like, yeah, let's do acid. Oh my God. No. They grew up with Disneyland, so they knew what to expect, and they've got all these like warm, fuzzy, nostalgic feelings. So when they take the acid, it was like all like, woo, yeah, this is awesome. Meanwhile, poor Adriana takes the acid and is like, you guys, don't you see what this is? This is a vision. This is Walt's vision of how things should be, and I don't fit in here. I'm like some freaky alternative queer kid, and this is like just reinforcing Judeo-Christian family values over and over, and it's like just and then like, and this is like, did you ever read Brave New World? This is what this is like just take a pill and be happy. Only instead it's like, do you hear this music? Where is it coming from? Where is the music coming from? Oh my God, it's coming from this bush. And it's like all this happy music to lull you guys into not paying attention. Wake up, sheeple, wake up. This is me on acid at Disneyland. Okay. Not a good idea. So, my friends are like, oh God, okay, you know what? Let's get you some beer. Let's chill out. Let's have some beer. I'm pretty sure there's like a beer tent or like Oktoberfest land, or, because everything's based on European stuff. So it was like my friends are somehow, even though they've been going to Disneyland for years, but I think they only went as kids and they weren't allowed to drink beer when you're a kid. So they didn't know that Disneyland does not have beer, has never had beer, has no alcohol at all. So we're running around the park on acid, me freaking out, trying to find beer. And then finally, like the one of the cast members tells us, hop the monorail, go to the Disneyland Hotel, and they have beer there. We're like, oh God, okay. So we did. I chill out a little bit. And then we go to the parking lot, and that was back when there was a huge parking lot that is now California Adventure. And by then the acid's kind of coming down a little bit, and then we're like, let's candy flip. I take ecstasy. Oh, there we go. That is what you do at Disney. You don't take mushrooms, you don't take acid, you don't take psychedelics. I mean, maybe you do, but no, ecstasy. You take a little happy pill, a pill that's literally like, designed to make your brain like be happy. And here I am in the happiest place on earth. And suddenly I'm like, ha ha, running up to Mickey and hugging Mickey and I'm with my friends and I'll say, I love you guys. Oh, and then like riding Star Tours was like this like religious experience. I got warm fuzzies on that ride, especially because I grew up with Star Wars more than like some of the Disney stuff. So, and I was like, okay, all right, today we learned a valuable lesson, kids. Don't do acid at Disneyland. Do ecstasy instead. Oh my God. That was, yeah, exactly. That was my Disneyland story. And so then, that kind of became a thing. Like every time I went to Disneyland, I would have to do that. And now it's like Jupiter and I go to Disneyland all the time now. Not all the time anymore. There's a global pandemic, but like we've been to several Disneylands in several countries now. It's kind of become a thing that we do. And like during Arson's show, she was showing pictures, a video of Disneyland, and of course there's crowds and everything, and Muffle Mug was in the chat being like, oh God, crowds. And I'm like, yeah, but no, it's like I know how to do Disneyland right. Jupiter and I are awesome. Like we've got it all mapped out. Like I do my research. This sounds crazy, but for a logistics fetishist like myself that likes to like figure out the best, most efficient way to do something, very German, even though I'm not, I know how to game the system for Disneyland. And it's like, we are there in the morning, and we are not morning people, but we will wake our asses up to be there at rope fall. Rope fall is when they drop the rope and everyone runs into the park, and we know exactly which ride to hit first. But actually, before you hit the ride, you go grab a fast pass for one ride, and then you go ride the other ride, and then you grab the fast pass for the next ride, and then you can always carry 2 fast passes at once. And now they do this thing on the phone, so now you don't even need to go to the machine to get it. You can just do it on your phone, and and it seems a little crazy, and it is for like the first 2 or 3 hours. But then you're like, oh shit, it's only 11 and we've already ridden 4 rides, like 4 or 5 major rides that usually have like 1 to 2 hour queues. And then you kind of chill for a bit. It's the peak of the day. It's like, oh, let's go catch a show. Let's do whatever. You ride a couple rides of whatever you're holding your fast passes for. And then you stay till the bitter end, kind of pace yourself. And then like the last 2 hours when things are clearing out, then you could ride all these other rides too. So it's like, yeah, we've got it down. I remember we went with Lobster Dust, and we're explaining all this to him, and it's like, oh, you make it sound like it's a military operation. And I'm like, it is. Like, you need to plan it out like that. And we actually went to a Disney park with Lobster Dust. We happened to be in Japan at the same time, so we went to Tokyo Disneysea, which is really interesting. It's like there's no other park like it in the world. It's like basically a sea, water, nautical themed Disney park. Has a lot of rides that aren't anywhere else. And Jupiter and I rode everything we wanted to ride. Like, we checked everything off the list. And we were there, like, right at rope fall. We grabbed our fast passes and we did it. Lobster Dust was a little late getting there. Got there like 3 hours later. He rode a merry-go-round. That is the only ride he got to ride. He did not ride anything other than a merry-go-round. So the moral of the story is, do it like us. Be like Adriana and Jupiter. Don't be like lobster dust. And on that note, be like DJ Time. He's full of energy, super, super, super excited for tonight's show. Let me. I'm realizing I need to change the stream title and stuff. So we are now no longer just chatting. We are going to be going hard all night. We got DJ Time for the next 3 hours doing. He's been planning this set. Disney means a lot to him, and I'm sure he's probably going to tell you some stories as well. And then Jupiter Gatling is going on after DJ Time, and she also is a bit of a Disney obsessive, and I'm sure she will also tell you all sorts of stories. None of them will be as good as my doing acid at Disneyland when it's your first time there story, but I'm sure they've got good stories. And tomorrow, by the way, tomorrow is 2000s mashup night, the aughts. So I hope you will join me. I'm DJing, and DJ Airson is filling in for DJ Innate doing Mashups Rock. So you know how we are. We're here all weekend for you, giving you a mashup realness. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk on all things Disney. And get ready. Let me get ready to text DJ Time. If you do not see him here in a second, then simply, you know how to do it. Refresh. And anyway, thanks for joining me on Mashup Talk. And I don't want to say happy, but today is also Transgender Day of Remembrance. So just take a moment amongst all the Disney stuff to recognize and just have a thought for the 350 transgender people who have gotten murdered in the past year, and hopefully we will have less in the coming years, and just continue to fight injustice in all of its forms. All right, take care of each other, everyone. See you later.